starting.
Okay, so do you have any non-design related areas of interest or hobbies?
God, yes. Every designer has to have some non-design related interests. Otherwise, you'd end up being an absolute maniac. I think if you just existed just within the kind of graphic design sphere. What non-design interests as in pursuits, hobbies, all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Believe it or not, I actually love gardening. I love being out there and just turning the soil and making things grow and stuff. But I kind of see that in some ways as, even though it is technically non-design related, but it has got a beautiful sense of design about it because you're dealing with nature, you're dealing with nurturing things, you're dealing with the relationships between different things, you're dealing with change and all that kind of stuff, that they are all kind of design issues. But yeah, it's good because it's totally unlike what I do here, totally unlike. It's good. Yep.
Do you think these non-design activities impact on your design?
Yes, I think they do. Yes. I mean, I think any outside interest brings in some sense of harmony and balance, and I think that would intrinsically help the design process because it just means I can come here in the morning and I feel fresh.
Yeah.
I can do stuff, as I'm sure you all have. Those interests, it's very important to keep fresh, definitely. But I mean, most of my direct influences come from things like art and literature and so on. So they are obviously more kind of creatively orientated.
What do you do when you have designer's block?
To be honest, I don't really actually. I mean, I know this kind of almost is going to sound very complex, but I actually don't really have designer's block very often.
Yeah.
Because as soon as a brief comes in, I sort of just steadily work through, try to kind of break it down into bite-sized pieces and try to work out what it's all about. And generally speaking, I don't have actually any trouble coming up with ideas, along that line. So, yeah, much as I'd love to say that, I don't really have designer's block much.
Okay, and looking back on past projects, what are some of the things that you have been inspired by, like, for example, with your book, Fancy?
Mm-hmm. Well, Fancy was inspired by, I guess, a certain scepticism about the graphic design industry. That, graphic designers are such pragmatic people. They want to get the job done. A job comes in, they do the job, it gets invoiced, boom, that's it, that's the end of the process. And I think as graphic designers, we need to look beyond those parameters. We need to look at what happened even before the brief came to us, what happens after the invoice is paid, and that whole sort of impact that we have on the bigger world, because we are all part of the bigger world. And that's kind of what it came out of. It was an interest in what's truth and what's not. Yeah, because really graphic designers can potentially be just extremely complex liars if they're not careful.
In which locations or situations are most of your ideas generated? Like, are most of them here in your studio? Or?
I guess they would be just from a time perspective. I mean, I spend a great deal of time here, so I guess I do have a lot of my ideas come from here. But I mean, as you all know, as design students, ideas can come to you on the tram, or when you're having a swim, or anything like that. So. But I'd say from a time point of view, most of them do come to me here, because at least here I can actually focus on the task at hand, whereas as soon as you go out in the street, there's all these kind of diversions and distractions.
What type of environments do you think restrict a person's creativity?
I think there are many. I think that's a really good question, actually. I think studios that subscribe to that kind of, dare I say, a very pretentious neo-modernist kind of thing where there's totally blank spaces and you can't play music and you can't talk and you can't do this and you can't do that, almost that sort of pseudo-monastic kind of atmosphere, whereas as though somehow design comes down from above, from some deity or something. That really pretentious atmosphere, and there's no shortage of studios that subscribe to that. I think that is an incredibly inhibitive atmosphere for creativity. We always play music here. We like playing it. We like looking out the window. We like doing things, and you have to keep it fresh, keep it alive. But every designer works in a different way.
Was there a particular reason why you created ampersand to be read in the shower? Like how you printed it on plastic?
Oh, I can't avoid that one. Yeah, well, we produced two editions. The first one was on plastic. The idea, I guess, with that was that we, by that stage, we'd been producing stuff for about maybe 10 years on our books, and we saw that there were people who were really into graphic design and really into type, and I guess that was almost like a fetish for some people. And I guess the idea of reading things about type when you're in the shower would have to be a fetish. There's no doubt about that. And it's funny, it's happened a few times. There's a Dutch design group called Underwear, that they're a font group, and they produced this book called Sauna, which was to promote their typeface sauna, and that book was designed to be read in a sauna. So it was actually made on particular stock that could handle the humidity of the sauna. So I'm certainly not the only one who's done that.
Yeah, we're actually looking at creating a series of kits with some random objects in them, and one of them is called bath.
Yes.
Because we thought, well, the research that we've done sort of suggests that bath or shower is one place where a lot of people have ideas.
Yeah.
Because they're in that whole relaxed environment.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
heads open, and those types of things.
Yeah, no, I can fully understand that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Also, we saw your new forum, Accidents.
Yes, accidents are not so grotesque. Yes, yeah.
And we're wondering if you have your own story involving accidents in graphic design and how you came to that subject as a topic for the forum.
It's a thing that's always interested me. For about 10 years I've had this idea of putting on an exhibition of grandiose graphic design stuff-ups, these huge kind of mistakes that people do in graphic design. And at one stage I actually approached AGDA and I said, can we do this exhibition? And they were excited about it, but of course it was pointed out to me that graphic designers are very hesitant to show anything that may infer that they're unprofessional or that they're somehow technically incompetent. And once I realised that, and graphic designers do have this kind of sense of pride, they don't like putting themselves out there, I realised that was actually a flawed idea for an exhibition, that I'd never get anything like that. So going from mistakes, I thought, well, if I can't have an exhibition of graphic design mistakes, what about something that hasn't quite got that same negative connotation? And that is accidents, because the great thing about accidents is that they're outside of someone's control by their very nature. So that was actually a very interesting theme. And so I've been interested in that for quite a few years. And then 2 years ago, this book came out called All Messed Up by Anna Gerber. And I became very interested in the idea of accident, because that book really outlined a great deal of interesting accidents in graphic design. And I thought, well, because we live in an age at the moment where almost everything is kind of style guided, and everything has this kind of, everything is branded, everything is so consciously and laboriously branded, that I couldn't think of a better time in history to start thinking about the role of accident, to try to kind of offset that. Because if we're not careful, we're going to be complicit in a world where everything is planned, everything is manufactured. And I mean, that's a pretty depressing concept for me anyway. So that's really what it is. So it's more of the idea of bringing in accident as a way of being able to inform the creative process. So we're currently working on the exhibition with that huge thing up on the wall there is, don't know whether you can see it or not, but we're constructing the exhibition at the moment, which is these series of trolleys. We're constructing 3 huge trolleys, and these trolleys are 2.5 metres tall, very big. And on these trolleys are stories about accidents, and that's what the exhibition is going to be. So we're just testing type sizes and all that kind of stuff today. But it should be a lot of fun. I hope you can all come along.
Have you received a lot of stories so far?
Graphic designers are so damn shy with these things. It is so hard. It's like trying to get blood from a stone, I do have at least, probably maybe in between 12 and 20 stories that I've been able to cobble together, either from local sources or from various books and various people that I know around the place. So they're all